to our first video of this new series. In this video is going to be called Unlocking Letters, Building a Strong Foundation. I was a first grade teacher for 8 years and loved being a first grade teacher. I had my little boy in 2021 and I finished up that school year and realized that being a mom and being a teacher was a lot. So I decided to take on a literacy tutoring position in the county that I taught in, which I was so thankful for. Part-time, I was able to be a little bit more flexible with my hours and not have to worry about sub plans. And during like the end of my pregnancy and right before I had my little boy, I finished my master's in reading and my specialist license. So that was like when the love for reading, I used to be a math girl. Growing up, I only liked math. I didn't like reading. It was too hard. But once I started learning about the brain development and all of the pieces that go together in reading, it all clicked and I loved it. So becoming a literacy tutor was like the first step into this. And now as my little one has grown, I have found so much joy in creating things for him and making it easy and fun, and also for the students that I'm tutoring, making it hands-on, not just like sitting and reading book after book. We're manipulating words, we're doing sensory stuff, trying to use all of the different parts of our brain so they can work together and everything can stick. So that's kind of where this came from. Starting with letter recognition. This is one of the early literacy skills that you can go ahead and start with your little one. It's never too early. It's never too early and it's never too late. Just come in where you are. If you've seen my post before, the whole account with a bit of grace is that everything that you do it with grace. If you can do it today, that's great. If you can't get to it tomorrow, don't worry about it. The next day's a new day. So we're going to start with where we are and we're going to start easy. That's the name of the game. We're not going to overcomplicate things. We're going to keep it easy. So starting with letter recognition, that is your child being able to recognize the shapes, the visual shapes that make letters, and how that is around them. And eventually, once we start seeing the letters, they'll recognize that letters build to make words. And then later, words build to make sentences. You see how it all clicks? Where do you think you should start with teaching your child letters? Do you know what letter to start with? Start with what they can make a connection to, because that's going to give them a personal connection, give them a sense of identity, and give them some ownership. And it is going to allow them to find that connection that encourages them. And it's like, oh, wait, if I learn these letters, then I know how to read my name. We're going to start with just their name. And guess what? You're going to put it everywhere. You're going to do their name in everything. If you walk into my house right now, I can go ahead and tell you there's about 4 different places where you will see my child's name. It's everywhere. And that's okay, because guess what? Now he knows his name. And this isn't a thing like, oh my gosh, my kid doesn't know his name. What am I going to do? Like, you're just going to help them. You're going to help them. They're going to learn. And then they're going to be confident in there. So we're going to work with the name. Now, here's my second question. Should you start with uppercase letters, lowercase letters, or a mix? When we're introducing letters for the first time, we're going to start with only the letters in their name. But the cool thing is once you introduce it in the normal, very clear fonts, they will start recognizing it in other places around, like the grocery store. We were at the grocery store the other day and we were walking on like the crosswalk or whatever, and my little one pointed and said, "Mommy, oh." And I was like, good job. Oh, and stop. Good job. Okay, so you're going to start by taking a strip of paper, sentence strip, a strip of construction paper, and you're going to write their name nice and big. I'm using my name to show you, and you want to do it nice and big and spread out. So you've got name on a sheet of paper. Then you're going to take sticky notes. You can use full size. You can cut them however you want. If you have the little mini ones, that's great too. And you are going to write the same letters nice and big. Okay. My favorite thing about this activity is when I introduced it to my little one, we have sliding glass doors going to our back porch. So I put it on there, working on a vertical surface where they can stand up and move around. Lori, I love a sticky note. And kids love them too. Kids love them too. Working on the vertical surface where they can move around and not have to be sitting still. You're going to be able to keep their attention a little bit longer. The stickiness of it will grab their attention too. And then this isn't just like a one and done. You do it one time, you can do it the next day, or you can take a break and introduce it a couple days later. And the beautiful thing with the sticky notes is you can kind of give them hints. So we're going to start by being very clear about these letters. You're not going to really ask them to what the letter is. You're going to do a lot of saying, okay? So I have my name, Lauren. I have all my sticky notes in front of me. And the way that I have found that my little one will engage in one of these activities is if I just leave it there and let him discover it by himself. We're 3 years old. We're in the power of control. So if he discovers it, I just let him go and kind of see what happens. And then I might come sit beside him and show him, oh, I found an R. Look, the R matches. I'm going to put it on top. And then he's kind of like, oh. And then I'm going to say, ooh, I found an A. We're not worrying about order right now. Just matching. Look, this A matches that A. A. Can you trace it with your finger? So you're wanting to just repeatedly, you're going to sound like a robot, and that's okay because that's what they need. You're going to repeatedly tell them what the letter is and have them trace it. You can have them write it in the air. You can see, it's touchy with a toddler, if they'll let you take their hand and help them trace the right way. If not, just see what they do. They might follow the line, they might not. And later, after you've done it one time and you keep talking about these letters, you can help them. I spy the letter E. Can you find the letter E? They find it and they stick it. If they aren't able to find it, or you can tell they're like looking all around for it, try giving them a color. The letter E is yellow. So you want to be very clear. As you want to be clear, you also want to lead them in the right way. So like trying to give them hints, or the letter U might be over here, and kind of circle with your finger where they can look for it. So that's the first activity. The first easy one. Like you probably have sticky notes in your junk drawer, cut off a sheet of paper, and there you go. Another, I'm just going to tell you real quick, this wasn't on my list to tell you, but I have it right here, so I'm going to. This is what I do with my kids at school, my kindergartners who are learning their names. I'll take like an index card, I'll write their name, and then just cut it. And all of these pieces are going to fly. Let's see. Cut them all into little pieces and have them match it to a sheet of paper or an envelope. If you take an envelope and write their name on the front, then they can match these little pieces to the front of the envelope. And when they're done, these pieces go in the envelope. So at first you want them matching on top, And then as they can do this by themselves, you'll ask them to match the letters underneath. You'll ask them to match the sticky note letters underneath, so then you can see both. And then eventually, we're going to ask them to put the sticky notes in order without having the white paper as the support. So you're giving them a lot of support to start with, taking away a little at a time until they can do it all by themselves. And later we will, not in this series, but later, we'll talk about what you can do after your child has learned the letters in their name. So I'm so happy that you popped on and you said hello and you tuned in. Can't wait to see you next week, where we're going to talk about all that you need to know about creating an environment that encourages reading and supports your child's growing love for reading.